everybody, Arxis here with another top 10 of things for Hearthstone, and this time it's suggestions. So, yeah, every time if you play some good game for some time, then you may have like some ideas and things which can be added to make basically already good game even better. And this is pretty much what I want to do today. I don't want to suggest cards. I actually want to do suggest card, but I do its own video which will be dedicated to this topic. But this time I have a suggestions not for cards, but for all game, like features and stuff. And this is actually surprisingly was difficult to find 10 things, but I think I actually find 10 different ideas. So I decided to sort them based on my personal preferences, and yeah, hopefully some of them will be implemented at some point. So let's do this. Number 10. Okay, so we are in quest log, and I don't know how else this explained, but if you check this page, and you can see all kinds of information here, like what's my status in play mode and in arena, and what's my level, and what's the total level, all kinds of information. So what I wanna suggest is basically expand this information, having some sort of scoring system, or how I believe it's called a leaderboard, where you can have your like personal records and things like what's your quickest victory, or what is the most damage you survive, or something like this, something interesting. I personally am not too much competitive person, but I know there is people who absolutely dig this kind of stuff, and having like something who is like, you are, for example, like person who survive most damage and win, or like having like nobody else do like exact same damage as you, or something like this. That's kind of good motivation to go and being better than others. This itself, it's really good encouragement for play, and I think that can be interesting. It's a small thing, that is true, and it don't affect game, but I think still it is good idea. Number 9. Okay, this is another suggestion, which is this thing. If you have your friend list, and there's people who are your friends and you can play against, but sometimes you wanna fight against somebody who is not your um, friend list. For example, you lost and you feel like this person really isn't too good, and only reason why it's win because it has a better card, which I complaining in my 10 flaws video. But if you agree or not, sometimes you just want to rematch with somebody without like putting this person on your friend list. Sometimes you feel like I can do better than this. So I think that having option have a rematch against somebody, basically list of your nemesis or uh, enemies, if this make any sense, and eventually maybe if you play against this person, maybe this person eventually can be your friend, you never know. I think the having option have a rematch sounds like a good idea, and I'm pretty sure at sometimes you can lose against some people and it can be really embarrassing, and sometimes you win and it's really tight victory, and I don't know, I think sometimes you just want a rematch, and this is why I'm suggesting a rematch option. Number 8. Okay, so this is something which is a little difficult explain, but what I wanna suggest here is basically bronze card. Um, Bronze cards, they looks kinda like gold cards, except they don't look gold and they have different color of the frame and they have not animated picture. One specific thing about bronze card is they can be crafted not with arcane dust but only for gold, and they cost only 10% of normal price, which means they are really easy to create and they are really cheap. And now you probably think why. Well, let me explain how these cards are used. These cards are super cheap, but they can be used only in practice mode. For a very simple reason. What's happened to me a few times, especially after a new expansion was released. There is some cards which looks really cool, and I really want these cards. Most specifically, what is this card? Let me give me a sec. Um, hmm. Oh yes, this card. When Goblins Unknown was released, I have this one deck which is dedicated to that level effects. But when I see this card, I was like, wow, it's gain for +1/+1 for every death level effect, which is good. Unfortunately, I didn't know this for each enemy death level, and that is really bad. So I basically create two of these cards, which cost me 200 of dust, and then I realized this card is pretty much useless to me. So I recycled and I get only a small portion of my dust back, and that's really annoying. Sometimes it's really difficult to tell if some cards work well for your deck or not. But you don't want to experiment because it's cost you lots of dust, and you don't want to waste this dust because you don't know if this card is good for your deck or not. And there's actually another thing. Some people may not be um, may have really bad English. I mean, I know my own English is really bad, but I still can understand most of the card here. But there is some people, like for example my brother, who don't speak nearly as good as English, and he sometimes constantly asks me what this card doing. For these people, it's really risky to craft some cards for dust. If there be option to create bronze cards only for purpose of testing, that's really good way how you can test card without losing way too much cards for which, like if you wanna make, like for example, some legendary card which normally cost you 16, yes, 1600 dust, which is a lot. But if there be a bronze card, then I can basically make this card for 160 gold, which really isn't that much, which is really cheap, and I can test this card in my test mode and tell if this card is good for my deck or not. Or eventually, I can upgrade bronze card in the normal card and maybe have some little small discount, maybe, because I use some gold, so it should be some really small discount, maybe like 10 or 5% or something like this. I think many people, especially those who are not good in English, can appreciate this function because for testing purpose, this feature will be really useful. Number 7. Okay, so another suggestion, another thing which I suggest involve heroes. More specifically, not these heroes. I want to suggest new hero. Basically, all these heroes, or more likely all these heroes, are some individuals from Warcraft universe, and you know what they are, and they're basically heroes who occasionally spend some time in tower and spend some peaceful round with card play. Why they are don't try and kill each other, especially with hordes and alliance, I don't have no idea. But for some reason they are. Anyway, what I want to suggest it's a new class which is called Card Master, which is basically professional card player, which means unlike others who have their own jobs and play cards just for fun or maybe for money, who knows. This one is basically someone who do nothing else than play cards. It's a basically professional player who dedicated its life for just for Hearthstone. I'm pretty sure something like this may happen because even in real life, we have things such as pro gamers. So why they cannot be something like this? And I think his card be like focus on interaction with the cards, like more likely more buff or interact with the special abilities which other classes and do something cool. I suggest his special ability be basically something like a perfect draw, which if you activate his special ability, then two cards from his deck appear. He choose one of them, and he draw this card when the first occasion where he draw a card and he basically get this card. This ability itself really don't do anything, and it's probably useless if it's combined with cards such as give me a sec. No, it's this one. I don't know. Give me a sec. I know it's somewhere here. Where is this one? No, this one. Such an ability is probably useless when it's combined with something like this, unless affected stacking, but I think this card can significantly increase its chance to get some good card, which actually makes sense because he's supposed to be master of gameplay, so that is only logical he can draw better cards. But at the same time, its ability really don't do anything else but this. So yeah, I think it's actually a good idea. I think there's definitely room for a few new classes, and I think this one is a good idea. Maybe you disagree, but hey, it's my top 10, so I can suggest whatever I want. Number 6. Okay, another feature which I wanna suggest. This is something really interesting. I wanna call this basically mana shards. I cannot show you this with a for specific example, but basically what mana shards are, um, it's a feature who help balance some cards. Because as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, some cards I think they are not really balanced and sometimes it's really difficult to do so. So I think the mana shards are basically what's remain from the crystals after they are used. And basically some cards, if they are too weak, they can be basically balance this feature by if they basically after they are played or on certain circumstances they may generate these mana shards and they can give them to you or enemy. Depends if this card need to be make stronger or weaker. And there is actually option for some interaction and making new cards which can give you shards for free. And basically what these shards do is if you collect 10 shards, they are transformed into crystal and basically give you one free crystal for one use. Which I think is great because with these numbers, like I said, it's really difficult to make some cards balance and sometimes it's really difficult to do this. I think such a feature can be really useful and really can help to balance the game. So yeah, mana shards. Number 5. Okay, so I think it's a really good thing, except the normal gameplay, we have some adventures, such as Naxarimas, that's a terrible word, or Blackrock Mountain. So what I wanna suggest here is basically editor, something which can basically give me a chance to make my own adventure, craft my own adventure, and maybe I can make some unique cards which are available only in this adventure. And if this adventure be good, then maybe people can give me some rating, and if enough people give me like good rating and they say, oh yes, this is really good, then perhaps I can get some really small rewards. For example, for everyone who like my adventure and give me like. So I get, let's say, 1 gold, which really don't sounds like too much, but if there is, let's say, 1,000 people who like my adventure, then suddenly I have 1,000 gold. I think, or maybe I can do like, I don't know, some be rewarded as a best adventure maker in a somewhere in some pages and get some different reward, or do something creative, or even if there be no reward, like being able to make my own adventure. I know there is many people, me included, who really like create things, and this provides some options and give you some additional variety and way how you can what you can do, and all kinds of strategy, and so many options what you can do with this if you can make your own adventure. So I think it's a really good idea. Number 4. Okay, I really have no way how I can give you example about this suggestion, but basically I wanna add something which allow me to do some sort of rating. Basically, if I choose card like this, and then somewhere here will be some sort of rating, which I can say between, let's say, 1 and 5, how much I like this card. From I totally hate this card, I don't like this card, meh, I like little this card, or this card is awesome. And I can also choose the reason why I don't like for example, I can say I think this card don't fit this class, or I think the card is overpowered, or I can say I don't like this card because I think it's useless. If people have option do something like this, that will be great source of feedback for Blizzard. And if there be many people who hate some cards, then maybe they can say, okay, this card is bad, people really don't like this card, maybe we need to do something with this card. Make it better, or remove it, or replace it with something better. I think it will be really great because this is really useful tool for Blizzard, so if they wanna do something, they they really don't know if we like it or not, but if they have a feedback directly in the game, so I think that will be really great. And also you can track like what is the most popular card and why, which would be really useful for people who are new in the game, because they say, okay, this card is really popular, so that means it's probably really good. I think this feature is really needed here, and be useful most for Blizzard, but I think it's give them like really good idea which cards people like and which don't, and why. And this can simply make game better, because there is some bad card that it can be fixed on Earth, or like some interesting feature, do something with the card, because that is really not the point. If people don't like something, then the Blizzard cannot fix it if they don't know about this problem, if people for some reason don't like it. So yeah, feedback. Number three. Okay, I wanna suggest something which is probably a little crazy, but I wanna suggest it anyway because I think it's provide some variety. So basically, we have several type of cards. We have normal cards. We have cards which are basically taken from certain events or from decks, like of these white. And also we have rare, epic, and of course legendary. So I wanna suggest a new type of card, which is basically called a fuse card. You can have only one fuse card for your, and you can have like multiple fuse cards here, and you can use only one for your entire deck because these cards are extremely powerful. And what this card basically is about, you can take two normal cards and fuse them together, which basically you get card which has stats and abilities but also price all these cards. There should be obviously some sort of rules or restriction, like for example, if you do that, then your original card is obviously lost, and the process of making fuse cards should be expensive with your dust. But at the same time, there's so many combinations. Can you imagine what crazy things you can do with this? And on top of that, you can get some really crazy card which no one else have. And I thinking maybe you can create something like, let's say, imagine if I combine, let's say, questing adventure and combine him with, let's say, with Shade of Naxari Madras. Can you imagine how ridiculously powerful this card be? And I be basically like no one who had this. I mean, on one side you can say, okay, this can create some crazy powerful card because there is some ridiculously powerful combination which you can do with this. But at the same time, it's fee for bigger price and you lose original. So and you can have this card only one, so it's giving you some really creative options, and you can be really crazy with this feature and create some ultimate super duper card of amazing, of awesomeness beyond your imagination. And everything is only about your combination. Like for example, if there be some restriction, like for example, let's say some basic cards which are um, soulbound, they cannot be created this way because they need to stay here. Same thing with the cards which are soulbound because for same reason. But with the normal cards like this one, rare, epic, or legendary, I don't see reason why this card cannot be created. And if you wanna be super crazy, you can create even some like ridiculous cards. For example, you can combine, let's say, this card, and this card cost you basically 15 crystals, which be incredibly powerful card. But at the same time, if you don't find some way how you can reduce its price in some reasonable level, then you won't be able to play this card. But if you do, then you have something insanely powerful. And this basically gives you, there's so many cards, there's so many combinations which you can do with this. I think it will be really great to be able to take two cards, two minions, and like fuse them together. Or do same thing with the spells or weapons, or I don't know. Obviously this need to be two cards of same time, so you cannot combine, let's say, spell and card. Well, technically you can. It could be like Battle Cry or the Turtle. That's another option. So There's multiple different things which you can do with this. Like I said, there's many different combinations, and I think it will be really cool if something like this be possible. Number two. Okay, this suggestion is really similar my previous one, but I think it's probably even better. So what I wanna suggest here, it's basically modifiers. If you ever play Diablo 2, then you may remember these socketed items which you can take a gems or runestone and put them in the items which modifies uh, stats of the item. And I think it will be really cool if you can do something like this through some events such as Pro War or Adventures or whatever. You can randomly get these modifiers, and modifiers be something like, let's say, reduce health of the minion 2 points, but at the same time increase 2 points in damage, or reduce his damage or increase his health, or increase both his health and damage but also increase his price, or reduce his price and reduce its some other abilities, or giving damage, effectively creating this card. What it is? Uh, it is somewhere here. I cannot find it. So something which you can, some sort of modifiers which you can attach for your existing card and modify what this card do, because sometimes there is some cards which have not necessary stats which you like. So for example, me, I really like Ogre. It's one of my favorite cards. But in my opinion, his big weakness is he have only 4 hit points, and his damage is good, but I don't think he really don't need his damage. So if there be some sort of modifiers, then I can reduce his damage to 2 and increase his hit points to 6, which can increase my chance he survive and generate more times for me. So, or I can reduce his price or increase something else about him. I think this provides another option for being a little more creative and give you more control over your cards and give you more freedom how you wanna build your strategies, because there's always these people who I really don't wanna like insult someone, but there's some some players which I have the feelings like they just watch you do and watch what other people do because they are probably lazy creating own strategy. So if this feature be like here, then will be real much more difficult to do this, and it's forced them to create their own strategy, because I think there's big potential with this option if you can simply do this. Like for example, my thing which I want to do and which I probably do be like take for example this card and reduce its stats and reduce its price, because this is great card, but I think it's a little too expensive. I personally be gladly accept reduce its stats if I can make this card cheaper. So yeah, and there's more examples of this. So I think modifiers will be a great way how you can make your cards a little more fitting for your strategy and improve uh, its functionality or do something like this. I think it's really good idea, and I'm pretty sure there will be people which appreciate some kind of thing. So yeah, modifiers. Number one! And here we are, number one. My number one suggestion, and this is something which I totally want for a really long time. This is basically I wanna be able to unlock permanently any previously active Southern Barrel and play it at will, much as I want. For example, I know I repeat myself and I mentioned this before in one of my previous videos, but I wanna something like being reward with some sort of token or crystal or whatever item. And if I collect these, then I can use them to basically unlock an brawl and play it as well. Because some of these brawls are really great. There's some which is really fun to play, and they are even more fun than normal play. Because as I mentioned before, there really isn't too many play mode except the Bravo and these basic, and having option to play them as well, because these are they are good, but I want to be able like play them much as I want, and but I can't. So this is my idea. I really badly want this and make my own set of roles which I like. I think there is big potential with this, being able to do this, and you know what? I'd be probably even willing to pay some real life money for doing this. This is how badly I want this, because unlike other things which you can buy for your money, this I think is really worth it because it gives me option of actually play way which I want, and that is precious for me because I know there is some things which I complain in the past, but if I can choose my own game mode, that is just great. I can play the way how I want, and which I enjoy, and I think this is why a game in general, it's not only for Hearthstone, what the games is about. And I really want this. I want this badly, really badly. So if anyone want the same thing, then tell them Blizzard, and I think they need to know this because there is really great potential, and this can make Hearthstone even better game than it already is. So that is my last suggestion, and like I said, it was really difficult to make this list, but I think there is probably some more options, and maybe I forget something. So, as always, feel free to leave some comments if you have your own suggestions. That is another thing which I want to do. If some people think there is something which I missed or forget, but yeah. I think if at least some of these features will be implemented, that will be great, and I think will be awesome addition for already good game, and it can make game even better. And I think that is what game really need. Well, with exception of things which I mentioned on my top 10 flaws, where I provide some suggestion how to fix these flaws, but that is its own thing, and if you wanna see this, then feel free to watch it. It is on my channel. And I think I probably do more Hearthstone things because it seems they are watched more than my Minecraft stuff. Probably because Hearthstone is more, I would say, like popular currently. So if people like it, then I do it. That's the point of doing this. Anyway, yeah. So that is everything for me for now. I maybe may do Owen Brawls video because this time it's really difficult. I'm not. I don't decide for now, but yeah. So thank for your time as always, and I will see you later.